Welcome to the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Each week we will bring you inspiring tips, stories, and ideas to help you be all that you can be, discovering your greatness. Featuring Donna Tashton. Donna is a transformational life and health coach, a highly sought-after public speaker, and the founder of Vibrant Living. She has helped hundreds find a better life, free of stress and living the greatness they were truly designed for. And now, your host, Donna Tashton.
Hello, this is Donna Tashton, and you are on You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. I have a guest today that I have been waiting to talk to. Hannah, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
I am so happy you're here. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on, Donna. I'm so excited to be here. Like I said, my name is Hannah. I am a copywriter and content strategist. So I help female owned businesses connect with their audience, establish their expertise, and of course, make more sales. And I do that by writing emails and case studies, typically, mainly. But I also am really passionate about teaching entrepreneurs how to use storytelling in their marketing to create deeper, more authentic connections.
Yes, because the more we tell our personal stories, the more people relate to us. And
absolutely,
that is not always easy to do, is it? So, are you married? Where do you live? Let's learn a little bit about yourself personally.
Sure. So I live in Florida. I am still on my first husband, and we have two kids together, two twin girls named Emmeline and Maple. And we also have a geriatric cat named Agatha Christie, and she kind of mopes around the house.
Well, you said your first husband. Are you plan on trading him in?
No, I just like to keep him on his toes because I listen to these interviews, and I just like to remind him, that he's got it pretty good. So, heads up.
Awesome. And you have children?
Yes, we have twin daughters. They're 19 months old. They are a joy, and they were a very unexpected gift.
Yes. How quickly did you get pregnant?
Yes. So we were talking about this right before. I got pregnant on accident. So pro tip for everyone, your birth control only works if you take it every day, just in case you needed that tip. We had only been married for a month and a half when I got pregnant, and we moved to Florida from our home of Indiana. So we were very far away from our family. It was a very difficult pregnancy, and I don't feel this way now, of course, but at the time I felt very resentful, like, thanks a lot, God, for ruining my good time. We were supposed to have like all these years together as a married couple, and all of a sudden everything was kind of thrown into the air. And while I was on bed rest, I started my business so that I could stay home with my girls. And it has just been absolutely bananas ever since.
And your husband is serving in the military, correct?
Yes, he works on airplanes for the Air Force.
Awesome. Well, thank you, both of you, for your service in that.
Oh, thank you.
My son was in the Army, and he did 2 tours in Afghanistan as well. So, and my husband was in the Air Force when we met. So we very much appreciate our military. No one really knows the sacrifices they make. And just in case anybody wanted to know, they don't get paid a lot. So
no, that's a giant misconception that we're all rolling in Ben Franklin's over here.
Not get paid a lot for what they do.
Right.
So that is quite a startling moment when you have an unexpected pregnancy, and you had plans, and this is the way my life is supposed to look, and all of a sudden It doesn't look like that. And I call those situations, if we process them, which you have properly, gifts wrapped in sandpaper.
Ooh, I love that.
It rubs us the wrong way when it's coming. It's not the plan we have, but it turns out you developed a business from that. You got wonderful little girls. And even though it throws things in the air, they can be gifts wrapped in sandpaper when we approach them in a positive way, that God can bring good things out of everything.
Absolutely.
So I love that. So how do you help people tell their story? Give me a client example of something that you do.
Sure. So there are lots of ways to incorporate storytelling into your business, and especially sharing your own personal stories is a huge part of it. But a lot of times I hear from people, nothing that bad happened to me, so I don't have a story to share. Or I get the opposite of, something horrible happened to me and nobody wants to hear about it.
Yes.
And it would be too dark and too terrible. And so you get the whole gamut of why people can't tell their stories. And my whole purpose, the gifts and the skills that God has given me and the passion that he has given me, is to help people learn how to share those stories, because what you believe about your story, believe it or not, it's not always the truth. So your darkness is not too dark for the people who are in it with you. And the not that bad is something that somebody else is going through, and it feels really heavy for them right now. And so my message is to always encourage people to look at the stories you can share and understand that there are other people going through something similar, or they will be, and you need to have that legacy for them to hold on to and carry through. So a lot of the ways that I work with my clients and the people that come to me are, we work on sharing their personal stories in their social media content, like, or on their about page. I write case studies for people, which is, for those of you who might not be familiar, that's like a success story of somebody that you've helped. And those are super, super powerful, because it allows people who are going through the same thing that you helped your clients with to self-identify by reading those stories. And they're told just like a Cinderella story, with the problem and the solution and the results. And then the last way that I help my clients with their storytelling is by writing emails, and sometimes I coach people through their memoirs.
That's beautiful. Do you find that as women work through with you writing their stories, that there's therapeutic benefit to them?
Oh my goodness, for anyone. But I think women especially, oh gosh, it's hard to really even put this into words, but there are so many pressures, there's so many expectations, and there are, especially when it comes to our roles as parents, or like our roles in family situations, there's a lot of extra guilt and things like that are placed on women. So for example, when I got pregnant with the twins, I was really mad about it and really resentful. And then I felt really guilty, because I was like, way to go, Hannah. There are lots of people who struggle with infertility, and you can't even be, grateful that you have 2 babies. And so like, it's ridiculous to feel like 70 different things about this one event. But it's something, or like, making the choice to breastfeed or not to breastfeed, or any parenting decision you make, there's so much commentary and pressure put on women. And it's so helpful to hear what someone else has to say about it, especially if you've been where they were. I think that therapy comes from understanding that other people are going to get so much out of it.
I agree totally. And when we feel all of those things, and then we're guilty and all, that we feel them, and then now you want me to tell people that I felt that way and I felt guilty about it, and all of that, and working through all of that becomes very therapeutic and healing to a process most of the time.
I think so.
Being able to say, because when I've shared my teenage story, I still get people are like shocked that I'm sharing it, but it took me a while. It felt embarrassing, and because mine's a little harder than just a difficult story. So learning to be able to share, and then other women talk about similar experiences, when you share and you open up and you're able to resonate more with the people you're trying to reach. I think I can think of some people, women that I know that, they're in art or music or, different kinds of coaching and marketing and all kinds of things, but they're trying to reach their client without actually sharing who they are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times. And that can be
Yes.
some type of disconnect with the struggle, because you still being in the Air Force and being away from your family, raising children, especially this last year you had to have some challenges just thinking that through.
Yeah, I certainly last year was a test for everyone. And the installation that we live on the base, and they stopped allowing anyone that didn't have a military ID to come on. So all of our childcare or help that we would have had was unavailable. And the military did not shut down. So my husband was still going into work. So it was still just me taking care of the kids and running my business. And it was challenging, but like I get lost in stories. It's like I was a big reader as a kid. I still am. And so working with my clients was a wonderful escape as well, because I got to hear their stories and see the service that they were giving to other people. And that was so invigorating. And it really helped me feel like I am not alone in this COVID world. There are other people still out there crazy enough. And it was such a pleasure and a joy and invigorating to get to share stories.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's some of the worst advice you ever got?
Oh my goodness. Where do I
Be
start?
about anything.
Most of it's the advice that I have given myself over the years. It's never good. I think this is not advice per se, but it is something that drives me nuts. That was told to me a lot when I was pregnant with my girls, is the just you wait kind of things. You think you're tired now as an 8 months pregnant, just you wait. Or, your baby's sleeping so well right now, but just you wait. And it's just this thing that women say to each other. It's only women. I've never heard a guy say, just you wait until, I don't even know what a guy would say.
Encouraging, says Donna sarcastically.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, why aren't we saying just you wait until they start to walk and they look like tiny drunk people and it's hysterical? Or just you wait until they say, I love you for the first time. Why aren't we putting out these encouraging messages? And I think that like we talked about a little bit earlier, kind of pours into this culture around women that it has to be hard and that you are alone and that whatever way you're doing it is wrong, and all of these different like messages that we're bombarded with. And I really, really did not like it when people told me that. I'm like, I already feel miserable. I'm on bed rest. I look like a beached whale. So if you could find something else to say, that would be really great.
I felt like one too.
Yes, good grief. Who knew you could swell like that? Oh my.
I know. Oh, I know. And still survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually saw a picture of somebody for Mother's Day, which as a picture of the 10 centimeters and then a baby's head behind it. And that, and this says, you really buy your mom something good.
Absolutely.
Because overall, we don't think childbirth should be impossible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I did end up having a C-section with the girls. And I think it hurts universally.
Yes.
However you bring your kid into this world.
It hurts. And then recovery is actually harder with a C-section as well.
Oh my gosh. We don't have to get into it, but there were a couple really painful things that I was not expecting, like a post C-section. So anyway, all that to say, this whole narrative that women are fed is that it's not right. It's never right. You're not enough. You're not doing it. All of those things. And the truth of it, the real story at work is that God has given us all a vocation, and he is equipping us all to do it, not perfectly by any means. And sometimes with some choice words and lots of feelings, but he is equipping you and he is giving you these vocations out of love and out of his grace. And I think that is such a message of hope that we have an opportunity to turn what would be sin, like all of these things, these flaws in us that could be terrible and horrible. We have an opportunity through God's grace to bless other people and serve other people with them.
Awesome. I love that. So you're a reader. Do you have any favorite books that you might recommend as we start to wrap up here?
Yes. How many hours do you have? I'll get my list out. So my favorite author, one of my favorite authors, I feel like it's unfair to include like C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien because everybody, so one of my favorite authors that you might not have heard of, her name is Michelle Morin, and she writes historical fiction. Her book Cleopatra's Daughter is excellent. I have loved it since I was in high school.
What's her name again?
Michelle Morin, Moran.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, she's excellent.
I love to read. I don't always have enough time.
I know. And if people need more recommendations, send me an email and I will send you a novel in return.
Oh, awesome. So we will wrap up here. And how could they get in touch with you if somebody, a woman listening here, has her own business and she needs some help?
Sure. Thank you again for this opportunity to share. You guys can find me on my website. It's www.fleecefreelancing.com. And my last name is a little weird, so you'll want to make sure you spell that right. It should be in this episode somewhere. And then you can also, find me on Facebook as well.
All right. Sounds great. It has been a pleasure having you share today. We've laughed a lot. And even remembering the tears that we cried.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you, Donna.
I had a wonderful, fun time talking with Hannah today. If you find yourself feeling like you're not enough and you would like some support with that, I help caring women rise above a painful past so they can actually live the life they've always dreamed. You can schedule a consultation with me. It's absolutely free. It will bring you clarity and some insight, and it'll be life-changing. So I look forward to that. Please comment, give reviews on this podcast, and share so that we can reach more women. Until next time, this is Donna saying, have an amazing day and live and love vibrantly.
Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Please share this with others who might enjoy it. For more info on Donna Tashton or to contact her, visit iVibrantLiving.com.